Assalamu alaikum, conscious entrepreneurs. Welcome to my 6-part series on building our economy, building your personal economy, building economy around your business, community, organization, or nation. Tonight's episode is entitled Breaking the Profit Spell. What is the difference in how we are operating today versus how we operated 50,000 years ago? When did this transaction based thinking get introduced to us? And what has it done to our community? And how do we break the profit spell? Let's talk about it tonight on the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. I'm going to show a few commercials, get you all ramped up and ready, and make sure you like and subscribe and tell a friend while I'm gone. See you in a few. You're tuned in to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show with your host, myself, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. I am a multi-million-dollar business developer. I have developed business and real estate around the world, and I want to share with you my mental strategies, my technical strategies, and how I made it in the world of business. So I don't teach theory. I tell you about my life and introduce you to people who can also share with you what they've done to become successful. This is a practical show. This ain't a theory show. You don't want to miss it. So stay tuned.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judgest, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who in my judgment is the master historian, taught us that of all our studies, history is the most attractive, and it is best qualified to reward the researcher. History is most attractive. Why should history be most attractive? Because history is the recorded time of the human family in its struggle to overcome obstacles. There is no life that is without struggle. The Holy Quran teaches us that man, meaning man and woman, is made to face difficulties. And after difficulty comes ease. But it is history that guides us through difficulty. For if you know how people who had difficulty yesterday got through, and if your difficulty is somewhat similar, then today we also can get through if we follow the guidance of history. This is why Carter G. Woodson and Many of our black giants fought for black people to know our history. Because in not knowing our history, we don't have a guide. And without a guide, we are lost. No wonder the Bible...
You belong to yourself. You're an independent people, created from the nation of free people. Yes, sir. You don't need to go nowhere but to yourself. Yes, sir. There will be a great separation. Yes, sir. So I said, it is on now.
The college is meant to prepare you for your future. That the time dictates that if we don't do something for ourselves as a people, we will be destroyed. And the aim of the enemy right now is to take us out.
We have God with us. We have Him as our guide. Yes, sir. We don't have to stand around here and ask the question, what must be done? Yes, sir. Get up and let's go and do something. Yes, sir. We cannot sit down. We cannot lay down. Yes, sir. We must get up. Yes, sir. And go to work.
Do you know what real joy is in life? Visioning something and bringing it into reality. That's real joy. Do you know what the next step in joy is? Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell in unity.
Tonight, you need to fasten your seatbelts. We're going to hear from some of the greatest minds in the world. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of trusting our future and the future of our children into the hands of those who don't love us. I believe we need to revitalize black leadership.
Assalamu alaikum. Once again, peace be unto you and welcome. I pray that your 2024 is beginning the way you liked it or wanted it to. We're going to talk tonight about building our economy. And this episode is entitled Breaking the Profit Spell. And for those of you who are in the chat, let's put that in the chat. Breaking the Profit Spell. And I designed this episode to help us to understand that in order to build our economy and support local businesses, we have to understand that everything is not transactional. In case you didn't know, I'm your host, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. I'm an international business and real estate professional. I'm an artist and business is my campus. So welcome to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show right here on the Sajdah Wendy Muhammad YouTube channel. Make sure you like and subscribe. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you get notified anytime we go live. We got literally a reality show coming up. So you're going to want to have hit that button right there and let you know when we go live, because it's not scripted. It'll just be whenever we go live. So y'all know I love to give mental strategies and secrets that I've discovered throughout my career. I love putting people in front of opportunities. I'm all about using my spiritual currency to support other like-minded people. All right. So I hope you all are doing well. Like I said, I pray you had a good week. Please support the channel. The Cash App is going across the screen. Cash App Sajdah Enterprises. I will strive to continue to give you all powerful, life-changing information at no cost to you, other than that you just pay it forward and give it back. And so we ask that you support via Cash App. All right. So who we got in the chat? I saw Sister Betty in here early. She said, great evening, my brothers and sisters. I see Sister Aletha has joined us. Wa alaikum salam, sis. She said, Thursday blessings. Who is that? Sister Zakia? Wa alaikum salam, ma'am. It's so good to see you. We're going to talk tonight. Yes, breaking the prophet spell. Y'all know I tell you these stories about my spiritual connection to my ancestry and to just how many times I probably showed up on the planet. I have so much ancient knowledge stored in my DNA, and I say that because I want to open up that connection in each and every one of you. Um, I know I have so much ancient knowledge stored in my DNA. We all do. We're ancient. When I was 3, 4, 5 years old, I was doing, thinking, and saying things that no one taught me about. I was just mulling over ancient concepts and situations in my mind, literally almost every night. I traveled to ancient places in my mind as a toddler. I could literally smell the vibration of energy. I'm a preservationist, as you know, so the ancestors stay with me. I know y'all laughing, but it's okay, but it's true. And when you start studying history, listen, it seems as if everything is happening now and time just collapses. What's the difference in how we operate today versus how we operated 50,000 years ago? When did this transaction-based thinking get introduced to us? When did we become so transactional? What has it done to our community? And how do we break the prophet spell? I don't know if you all know, but I know for me, I've been working for a very long time to own and monetize my own authenticity. And so just digging deeper and knowing who I am and monetizing so that I would have multiple streams of income that tie in to the various aspects of my personality. Let me start with this. Back in 2009, when I was deep in the throes of trying to maximize profits, I started vlogging and blogging. Now, in 2009, I was working as a business consultant, trying to figure out how to increase my revenue. My mindset was all about profits and all about transactions. That was all it was about. I had a couple side businesses, and basic capitalism is sell for more than you spend making it, buy low, sell high, make enough on each transaction to earn a profit. And I can say that I was consumed by that. And when we're consumed by that type of thinking, it's easy to be entranced by it. And it's not hard to find a preacher, a teacher, or a motivational speaker that will help you stay in a transactional mind space. The mind control game is to keep you chasing profits, keep you and I chasing profits and looking for the next best transaction. What does that do to us? What does that do to us in our relationships? Many of our relationships are transactional. We get into relationships with people and it's about the transaction. 70-30, 60-40, 50-50. Who's doing what? Who did this for me? It's like, what can you do for me? Remember that song, Janet Jackson, what have you done for me lately? Some of us go into the relationship thinking like that. Others of us have to start thinking like that because we've been tricked. See that old pimp language that permeates our community? Will have you thinking that you're in a real relationship when in actuality, it's basically just transactional. It's going to hit some of us hard today. Some of us are so transactional based that we judge our family, friends, children, and siblings on how much they do for us. And it's this circular type of thinking that can really be detrimental, especially when we think we have to be nice in order to stay in good standing in that person's life so that we can get a good transaction out of our interaction with that person. You see how that's flowing? Type in the chat if you see how that's flowing. You see, it's this type of thinking that makes it difficult for us to support one another. Makes it so hard for us to support one another because it's always, what am I going to get out of it? What they're going to do for me? We forget all about spiritual currency. It's all about this transactional physical currency. It makes it difficult for us to marry one another, be in business with one another, and to even love one another. It's because the basis of our relationships are often transactional. But as we build our community, we have to elevate beyond transaction-based relationships. Some forms of transactionalism are natural and not always financial based, but this profit focus on transactionalism is what, in my opinion, makes it so seductive and spell-like. Welcome to those who just joined the chat. Miss Iwana, greetings, sis. Welcome to Sandra D. I see you there. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, everyone. So simply put, something as natural as transactionalism has been injected with the demand of profit. So the word transaction, let's break that down. It stems from the Latin word transigere, or to drive through or to accomplish. It's not restricted to the economic sense of buying and selling or merely associated with a financial transaction. So most of us, when we think about transactionalism, we think about money, transaction, dollars, exchanges, going to the cash register, making a transaction. Okay. But that's not what it's limited to. A much larger field of exchange is employed and summoned up when we start talking about transactionalism, such as any sort of social interaction, okay, such as verbal communication, eye contact, or touch is a transaction. So a stroke, like of one's hand, is an act of recognition of a transaction. Okay, like it could be a psychological transaction. It not only examines exchanges or transactions between borrower and lender, but encompasses any transaction involving people and objects, including borrowing and lending. That's a transaction type, right? Buying and selling. That's a transaction type. Writing and reading is a transaction type. Parent and child is a transaction type. Husband, wife, sister, brother, friend, sister, brother. Those can be transactional types. So what that means is that a transaction is a creative act engaged in by one who, by virtue of their participation in the act, okay, of which they're always an aspect, never an entity, their participation in the act together with other participants, whether they're human or environmental, becomes in the process modified by and through the exchange with others. So that transaction is really an exchange with others. And it's not just money. Okay. So transactionalism is real. It's part of our everyday life. As humans, we are communal. And so we are always meant to be exchanging with one another, with aspects of the environment and the universe. But transactionalism is a real human function. Okay. But when you add money to the mix, and people only think transactions are about the exchange of money, and when you live in a world where money is worshiped by default, now you got the makings of a profit spell. I hope you're with me on that. Let me know in the chat if y'all with me, because this is going to have you thinking. So I want to make sure you stay engaged. Let's go into this part of it. The metaphysics and epistemology of living a satisfactory life begins with the hypothesis that man or woman, okay, man is a species, is an organism environment, solving problems in and through a necessary exchange with others. So you know how we say, look, there's no spook God. You got to find a way to exchange with others, okay, to negotiate your way through life. Okay, it's necessary. Humans are communal. Like I said, it is necessary for us to exchange with one another, but it doesn't always have to be for profit. Therefore, attention must always be paid to organizing acts as aspects or entities within a reciprocal, co-constitutive, and ethical exchange, whether it is a cooperative buying and selling, teaching and learning, marital transactions, or in any social situation where human beings engage one another. So money has been injected into our natural interactions with one another. That's what I wanted you guys to understand, that transactionalism or a transaction-based world, okay, is real, it's necessary, and it's beneficial. The problem is the profit spell. Okay? Again, type in the chat. Let's break the profit spell. Now, what is a transactional relationship? Let's define that. Transactional relationships may include negotiations or bartering, or they may appear and feel very businesslike. Transactional relationships, when you have a relationship that is purely transactional, purely profit-based, it typically tends to lack friendship. Love is not often there. It oftentimes lacks flexibility, making it very different from a non-transactional or relational relationship. It's why, like, if your phone gets cut off and you call the company and you say, hey, I'm going through this and that, can you turn my phone on? They say, no, I'm sorry. It's because they don't have an interpersonal relationship with you. It's purely transactional and it's purely for profit. So when did we take the concept of transactionalism and make it about profit? Who taught us that? And why? It's really hard to say. I did a lot of research, and it's hard to say when it all started. Did it start 6,000 years ago? Some people say it began with the development of Greek society. I'm not so sure. But what I do believe is that it has been exaggerated through this modern period of trauma and abuse in the human culture that began somewhere around 500 to 1,000 years ago. So the more trauma we experience over the past 500 years, the more damaged we have become. The more abuse became synonymous with power and success. The more susceptible to manipulation we have all become. And the more predatory behavior is celebrated, the more transactional our relationships become. And now today, it's difficult for us to even think about supporting one another. We can't even imagine. Supporting somebody is usually like the last thing on our mind. Because as long as we have been abused and manipulated, it's difficult for us to trust one another. We keep saying Black people need to unite. Our unity is important. We repeat the words of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We must unite. We must pool our resources. Our unity is more powerful than an atom bomb, but yet we don't unite. But until we begin to operate in a spiritual realm, until we understand that our spirituality is really our currency, especially in this new dimension we're moving into as a people, and we find a cause that is bigger than ourselves and bigger than our trauma, until we do that, we will never be able to trust one another. Why can't we trust one another? It's these profit spells. These profit spells make us controlling. It's the fuel behind cancel culture. We can't even take someone else stating their opinion because we're so worried about it messing up our transaction. This is permeating throughout pop culture. We want to control people because we're so afraid that their behavior will disturb our bag. This is what makes us sell our soul for the bag. It's what makes us scam artists and con artists, because we want to get to the bag by any means necessary. This profit spell is so overwhelming that we don't know where to draw the line. We can't even have proper relationships or build an economy or even generate change with this mindset. Just seeing if y'all okay. Checking y'all out in the chat. Give me a thumbs up if you all right. If you're grasping this. Let me give you an example, okay, of another community that has benefited, okay, from discrimination. And I don't say that in a cavalier way. But generally, when a community is under attack, okay, or severe discrimination, that community tends to lean on a higher power, and the hatred they experience forces a sense of unity. It's not even that they all like each other or even all get along, but it's the trauma that oftentimes induces unity, especially when they're not under a profit spell or the illusion of inferiority like Black people. You heard me talk about the Asian community and how the buying power growth by race of Asians from 2010 to 2021 is 127%. Now compare that to the growth in that same period of whites, which is 57%, and of Blacks, which is 70%. So while the growing power of Black people in America has increased, the growing powers of Asians has escalated exponentially. Also, according to the State of Black World Economic Report published by the Christian Times, the median household income of Asians is $102,000 per year. Okay. For whites, it's $79,000, Hispanics $60,000, and Blacks $49,000. So for every $1 that whites earn in America, Asian Americans earn $1.28. Hispanic Americans earn 76 cents to every $1 of whites, and Black people earn 62 cents for every $1 that white people earn. Why is this relevant? The first major wave of Asian immigration to the continental United States occurred primarily on the West Coast during the California Gold Rush, starting somewhere around the 1850s. So in roughly 200 years or so, the Asian community has overcome the discrimination imposed on them in America to now they out-earn all other Americans. And again, when I say that overcome discrimination, I don't mean that they don't still suffer. I don't mean that they haven't suffered. What I do mean, though, is that they've been able to increase their ability to generate income and revenue and become more independent in the face of this discrimination. Now, much of this rapid growth was on the back of the Black community, because while we were not allowed to open and maintain independent businesses en masse, think about Pinewood, Archer, and Green in Oklahoma, for example, and these types of massacres just for us being in business for ourselves that happened all over the country, and the silent massacres that happen when we go into business today. Meanwhile, Asians were restricted to doing business in our communities. They weren't allowed to go into other communities and open businesses. And Black people were being traumatized at the same time by restrictive housing covenants and being blocked from entrepreneurship. So when a people like us, okay, associate business with trauma or pain, it's hard for us to trust one another. It's even more difficult for us to trust ourselves and believe in ourselves, because we have a history of pain and trauma when it comes to business in this country. So we oftentimes don't even believe that we can do it. So we have to practice We have this practice of believing, for example, we lean on God, on Jesus, on Allah, on Muhammad, but we don't most times believe in ourselves. We don't believe in the God within us. That piece of those people we worship that's within us. We will die for Jesus. We'll die for Muhammad, but we won't die for ourselves because we don't trust ourselves, nor do we have faith in our own ability to do for self. So much so that we hate anyone that even brings up the subject. Some of y'all mad right now at me for talking about it. It takes a lot of courage, y'all, for us to go into business for ourselves. Stop and pat yourself on the back. I had to stop last week and say to myself, you know what? Some of the accomplishments that you've made in business means that you're a bad sister. And I want you, this is me talking to myself, and I want you to believe in yourself. We have to do it against the odds. We have all kinds of things stacked up against us when we decide to go into business. So we have to overcome. That's why these mental strategies, and I wrote this book, The Mind of an Entrepreneur, is because mentally we got to have our heads in the right place. But all of that is ushering in a new spiritual dimension. Stay with me. We have to navigate through brainwashing. We have to break generational curses. We have to bust up profit cells, sometimes even fight with those that oppose our independence. Despite that, even our parents and families are sometimes so afraid for us that they discourage us from doing anything independent. We're not sent off into the world like warriors going off to make a change. We're sent off with the message of be careful, watch out. I pray you're going to be all right. It's a message of love, sprinkled with a little disbelief that stems from their own pain and trauma from being hostages. You all know what Stockholm Syndrome is? What is Stockholm Syndrome? Stockholm Syndrome describes the psychological condition of a victim who identifies with and empathizes with their captor or abuser and their goals. Now, they say that Stockholm Syndrome is rare. And according to one FBI study that I read, the condition occurs, according to them, in only about 8% of hostage victims. That's not true for Black people. We identify with our captors. We identify with our abusers. And we are now supporting their goals as if they didn't kidnap us. And we're not even supporting our own goals. We were kidnapped for the purpose of profit. We have been held hostage for the purpose of profit. That was the goal. Profit, profit, profit. And the mentality of slavery, of the kidnapping process, continues to exist today. And we continue to identify with that goal. We continue to believe in their goal. We live our lives based upon that goal. We're under a profit spell. I know it's heavy. I know it's heavy. Profit spell. Type it in again. We're under a profit spell. I want you to keep mulling over that. Let your subconscious mind unravel that for you. Type in the chat, profit spell. What is a spell? A spell is an incantation, a charm, an enchantment, a form of bewitchery. It's a magical formula intended to trigger a magical effect on a person or objects. Why in the world is this profit spell so powerful and magnificent? Why is it magical? Well, because you have a group of people who kidnap the descendants of God and then brainwash them into thinking that they were only as good as the profit they generated for their kidnappers. You see, that brainwashing is so powerful that now the kidnapper doesn't even have to brainwash us anymore. Their program is on automatic pilot. It's a spell. We do it to ourselves. on our own. We can't even be in relationships with each other. We don't even like each other unless there's a profit involved. The profit spell is real. So the question is, how do we break this profit spell? I've been studying this. I'm going to give you a few suggestions. We have to exchange or engage in a new way of thinking, a new way of living. We have to change our energy. See, when you think about the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaching us that we must unite and pool our resources and giving us just a new way of thinking and seeing ourselves. You've heard me talk about that on this program. This is changing our behavior and our vibration. Most of us don't even think about making this what I'm talking about a practical way of living our lives. I'm talking about supporting one another, building an economy, trusting one another, loving one another, understanding that everything is not transactional. Every exchange that you have with somebody is not a transaction for profit. Let me say it that way. Every exchange you have with somebody is not a transaction for profit. You don't always have to go into it trying to figure out what you're going to get out of it. Let me give you a little trick. One of the things when I'm coaching my clients, one of the first questions I ask them is, what do you want? See, because if I know what you want, I can determine whether or not I can help you get there. But I can also understand where your weaknesses are. I can understand how you may be being manipulated out of your position. Because when you want something, when you got that in the forefront of your mind, you just want. Profit, profit, profit. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Take, take, take. That makes you easily manipulated. That's why they can show a commercial and get you to go down and spend all your money. That's why advertisers spend millions of dollars a day chasing after your dollars and your money, because they know you got something that you want. And if they can just manipulate what it is that you want, the object of your desire, then they can put you in a position, because they already got you programmed that every exchange is a transaction for profit. They already got that programming. So now they just got to figure out, okay, how do I make them want what I'm giving them? How do I make them want this poison that I'm feeding to them? How do I make them want the abuse that I'm imposing upon them? In fact, about it, how do I make them want it so much that they abuse themselves? Most of us don't think about this. We have to embark upon a spiritual path. We have to think beyond our intellectual capacity or beyond the transaction-based thinking that many of us have been so indoctrinated that it's even in our DNA. Every spiritual path on earth requires generosity and service. It's a prerequisite of which is selflessness. We have to put in the work to heal. How many of you are focused on healing? How many of you are focused on thinking differently? See, if you think the same way your parents think, if you think the same way you've been thinking, you're going to get the same results. So how many of you are focused on thinking differently? How many of you are focused on moving differently and allowing ourselves to rise to another level of consciousness? See, buying local or buying Black, supporting your brother or your sister, especially, requires a higher form of spiritual consciousness. Why? Why? It seems simple enough, right? Just support? Not necessarily. Because if it was that easy, we would do it. We know the answer. We know we need to unite. Everybody talks about how we don't get along and we always nitpicking with each other, and we all talk about it. Why is it another form of spiritual consciousness that is required? It's because of the trauma we have to overcome in order to even be able to live this type of lifestyle. It's not easy. That programming is playing in the back of our mind, and those trauma-based trust issues are imprisoning us at every turn. We're afraid of one another, so we tell ourselves that we don't like each other. We hate on one another. We act mean towards each other. We steal from each other. We do everything we can to restrict the success of somebody. We just take. We get stuff from them. We get things. We just take. We don't think about giving back. We don't think about paying anything forward. All of that's fear. We're so afraid of each other. And that fear restricts and confines us and negotiates us out of our potential. See, when you're scared of somebody, you tell yourself, I don't like them. Because you're really scared to go over there and talk to them, but you're just going to say, I don't like them. I don't mess with them. I don't trust them. But you're lying. So now you got all these lies playing up in yourself. What are we doing? The beautiful thing about this type of spiritual journey that I'm talking about, the one that we're on as conscious entrepreneurs, supporting one another, giving back to one another. What's the new thing now? We all scared of AI, artificial intelligence. The beautiful thing, y'all, about this spiritual journey that we are on, especially in this world that is threatened by artificial intelligence, is that AI cannot mimic true spirituality. Did y'all know that? When we elevate our consciousness, the artificial intelligence has to catch up. The AI is mimicking who we are right now. But as long as we continue to grow and change, which is actually how we're designed as spiritual beings, then the AI has to be reprogrammed in order to catch up. By staying connected to one another and deep diving into our creativity, going into that space where nobody has gone before, the AI ain't been there. It becomes almost impossible for the technology to catch up when we begin to elevate as gods. The technology will then become our tools as God. So as long as we stay on this low vibrational path of being, and as long as we continue to practice the lifestyle that imprisons us, then we will have every right to be afraid of AI. But as long as we're being creative and continue to seek deeper levels of consciousness and close alignment with Allah, then our individual creativity begins to expand and begins to mirror the creative energy of the universe that the God used to create himself. Think about an artist. When he's really in that zone, or she's really in that zone, and she's playing the piano or the violin, and it's just organic, or singing, and it's just sounds and notes and energy that's just coming up out of them, or you're just creating, you're literally downloading from the universe, creating what's next for your business, your art, your love. How are you being creative? When you're doing that, there ain't no computer that can touch you when you in that space. All it can do is mimic what you just did. It can try to anticipate it by calculating your moves and understanding how to study history. But guess what? When you elevating into that space of infinitum where nothing can touch you, then the AI can't touch you. Allah will always be greater than anything made in this world. And as long as we continue to ascend into new dimensions of thought, we will always be greater than artificial intelligence. It's artificial for a reason. So something as simple as Black people uniting and supporting one another is likely not written into the mind of artificial intelligence. They're probably got written in there the fact that we're not going to unite, and probably programming us so that in the future we won't unite. But when we go into those deep, fertile spaces of love and creativity, guess what? That love, that creativity is going to bind with likeness in other entities and in other people and throughout the universe. And it'll be something that AI has never seen. And our massive support of one another will send the authors of AI back to the drawing board. Some of y'all, I hear y'all saying, well, AI is just going to keep mimicking us. And I say, well, then we're going to have to just keep growing and reinventing ourselves. This is what we were put on the earth to do anyway. So if we listen, you were not put on this earth to be stagnant. As long as you're stagnant and you're not moving and you're not reinventing and you're not creating, of course, a robot can be created that can take over your life. But our beloved Honorable Elijah Muhammad gave it to us. He said, accept our own and be ourselves. When we do that, we can outpace any man-made transactions. Let's start with love. Let's be conscious about unity. Let's be intentional about our support with one another. And if you feel your trauma bubbling up, your trust, your hate, your jealousy, do it anyway. And see what that does to the existing algorithms. See what it does to the algorithm inside of you. Support anyway. Just start by doing something nice for people, for somebody. Support their businesses, not because there's something in it for you, but because you want to deposit into the universe of creativity that which you know is just going to come back to you. Do it anyway. Support anyway. Let's get ourselves out of this space of profit. What's in it for me? Some of us become so obsessed with the profit that we can't even think spiritually. All we can do is think about who I'm going to rob, what I'm going to steal, how I'm going to go somewhere and get something for nothing. We go into a business and we don't even want to pay for anything. We got coupons. We on our phone like, shoot, let me see how I could get this done. Let's work on that. Let's consciously work on that. Since we ain't been like that in the past, 9 times out of 10, the AI algorithms don't have that factored in. And that type of love, that kind of support, that kind of do for self can trump whatever's planned out there. No pun intended. All right. So Sister Betty, she said, pay it forward. Thank you, sis, for saying that. We got Sandra D, break the spell. This is deeply spiritual and AI can't love, meditate, or pray. Come on now. Okay. It's time to go. It's time to ignite. It's time to do this thing. Let's get out of this profit-based thing. Let's get out of trying to compete with the next person. She got some new boots on, so you got to go get some new boots. She got a new wig, so you got to go get a new wig. She got a new car, so you got to get a new car. That's all the profit spell making you do that. Some of us don't even put any kind of spiritual intention into anything. We see somebody get a new car, we go get the exact same car as they got. Where's your spiritual intention? Where's your design? What works for you? What you look good in? How you gonna try to wear the same clothes as them? We sitting up on the computer, we logging in, we on TikTok, we on Instagram, we see what so-and-so got on. Then we go, okay, I'm gonna go out and wear that. Oh, that's the color that's in. That's what I'm getting ready to do. That's how they keep us programmed. It's programming us for a profit. Why? Because if they tell us that green is in this year, we all go run out and buy green. Guess who makes the money? If they tell us that this kind of purse is hot, and this may not even be a functional purse for us, what do? We all go out, get the purse, and guess who's making the money? Then we become like that in silly ways. We all want the same man. We all want the same, all the brothers want the same sister. It's just weird where we don't tailor anything to our own authenticity because we don't know ourselves. Because we're so busy chasing profits. All right, y'all. I just want to raise your awareness on that, get y'all to thinking. I don't claim to have all the answers, but I know I can generate some thought. And I know you got the answers right there inside of you and in your head. So, all right, make sure you all are liked and subscribed. Make sure you hit that notification button so when we go live, you know about it. Please support. Cash App is scrolling across. Cash App, Sajdah Enterprises. If you want to help support this platform, this what y'all see, this ain't free. So support it. If you want to support the completion of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House, go to supportsajdahhouse.com. You can get your commemorative Elijah coin by going to that site. You can also Cash App the discounted price, the special Savior's Day price of $350 to Sajdah Enterprises as well. Email me with your address and we'll get it out to you as early as tomorrow morning. If you want to book me for consulting services, business development services, then just go to book SajdahWendyMuhammad.com, public speaking, Black History Month, whatever it is. So, all right, family, with that, I'm sending each and every one of you lots of love, lots of good energy. I thank each and every one of you for your continued support, your continued love. I pray that whatever support you give to me, that it returns to you tenfold. That is my prayer for you. I literally meditate on that before I come on these lives with you. So if you're here, if you have any kind of positive love thought, $1, $2, $10, or whatever you have for me, I pray that it's multiplied in your life tenfold. And whatever problems you're facing, that you're blessed to find the answer to it. And most importantly, that you live in peace. All right, family. With that, I will see you all Saturday, God willing, for the Sajdah Saturday morning coffee talks. I don't know what we're going to talk about. We'll see. That's usually when it gets good, right? We'll see if something comes to me between now and then. If not, you all can always DM me if you have something you want me to share or discuss. And we'll see you all soon. All right. Peace and blessings.